Hi there, this is a 2022 new Cascadia, and today we're going to do a walk around on operational stuff and how things function on this truck.
All right, so this is our dare bumper that is optional with the Cascadia. It's very easy to operate. All you do is you lean in a bit and you pull down on that and pull that up. And then same thing on the other side. I'm just leaning into it a bit, pull that back and pull it up. It's that easy. Just one thing to keep in mind is before you do close it, just make sure this is in place before you close it, otherwise it will rattle. And then we're just moving along. These are the LED lights that comes standard with our Cascadia. This is a heated for your safety as well. Moving along. This section here is where your one box is behind here, right? Coming along this way. Over here, this is where your chain hangers are. And over back here is where you fill your fuel. So your diesel tanks are here and over there. They're very easy to operate. And when doing your safety checks, it's very easy to unremove this. So if you have it locked, you use your key. Otherwise, you just push this button down and pull it over and it pops right off. You can do your inspection on your nuts and check your air pressure at the same time.
Here's your left-handed fifth wheel release. There's an air slide release switch on the dash. Access to the frame. Booster cable jump. You got air lines are wrapped. Glad hands. Load lock. 4 load lock bars to mount in here. We come around to inside the cab. There's a release for the jockey box on the driver's side. In this side we have the first aid kit, fire extinguisher, and we have a power inverter mounted with a shore power. Everything's all pre-wired inside, ready for the driver. Coming over here, it's your DEF fill, your battery box, your air release from your tanks. If you need access to the battery box, there's these latches here and this whole section will come off and the information is right here.
Approaching the driver's side of the truck, we have the same familiar hood latch as the previous models. We'll go ahead and open the hood. The tow hooks have been relocated to the front of the truck from previous models. Over here you have your fuel water separator. There is a drain here, so if you get an indicator on your dash saying that there's water in this fuel system, you will have to drain it. Over here we have our power steering reservoir that is translucent, so you can see the fill level. Same thing with the coolant tank over here. You want to be careful. You do want to read what type of coolant goes in there because there is different types. We'll move over here. This is the fuel filters over here. There is a pump to prime the fuel. Right here you have your oil fill and your oil level check, your dipstick. Up there is your air filter. Over here on the hot side of the truck, we have your air dryer. Up there we have your air filter minder that'll show you your restriction level. Down below over here we have your cabin filter. Now this is really important. You want to take this tab off periodically to check the restriction level because that is air that you're breathing in. Over here we have your windshield washer fluid. You can see the level right here is full. You definitely want to check that out periodically as well. And over here we have one fuse panel that's located on the firewall. This will have your fuses and your relays.
All right, we're in the back of a Freightliner Cascadia right now. First thing to know, this is your sleeper dome light, so the light that's above you button for the top bunk if you want to turn that light off. And then jumping down into the lower bunk area here, we have your reading light to turn that on and off, the button on the bottom of the light right there. These are your controls for the S-bar heater, the bunk heater that's under the bunk here. Here's your main HVAC controls for the bunk. So if you have your optimized idle running, you do need to have this fan set to on, and then this is acting as a temperature gauge for you, and then you have the rest of the light controls in the bunk here. All right, so we're in the back of the bunk here. If you want to take this top bunk down, just turn that and then give it a little pull. This will slide down by itself. To access this ladder, you'd push this button and then the ladder would come out and automatically slide down. If it is fully extended, you can hit these buttons on there to push it back up, and then it would lock in place with this same button there. On the lower bunk, this box is your winter front. It's important to know that you only need to use this in very cold temperatures, -35 Celsius or colder. To open the lower bunk, you have your switch right here. So you just move that, and then this guy would lift up, and you can access what's underneath there. Also in here, drawers and shelves galore. This is your fridge, more shelving right there, your TV mount, microwave mount, and then all the shelving in the top of the truck here. And one more thing to just show you quickly. These do button on if you want to have no sunlight in there. And if you want to access this, these windows do open a little bit as well. I'm in the passenger seat of the Cascadia here. Behind this is what's called your EVault. So this is where all of your electrical will be. You can actually reach right back behind here if you need to access any of the air lines or electrical for the cab. To open this up and see your fuses is these two buttons right here. You're going to push on that and open it up. You do have spare fuses along the top here and a bit of a fuse diagram on the inside of this panel as well. Right, so operation of the truck itself, you have your mirror movement options here and then turning the mirror heat on. Windows and door locks are there. On the side here, this is going to be for your wipers, so intermittent options are low to high down there. These are all for the dash panel here, how to operate that. And then this is your cruise control and phone controls right here. Lighting for the cab is there, your trailer brake, trailer parking brake, and your truck parking brake, hazard lights, utility lights for the back. This would turn your traction control off, and this is actually a switch to allow your engine to override an engine shutdown, which will be every 30 seconds for intervals. This would turn your hill start assist off if for some reason you needed to roll back. There's an optional switch that is wired to the back of the cab if you were to hook something else into there. This would turn your engine fan on, and this is a light test, which is great for pre-trip inspections. You can walk around, all the lights will begin flashing, so it makes your pre-trip very easy. Then you have your differential locks here, and your fifth wheel air slide, and then your suspension height adjustment. Standard 12-volt power plugs here, and your HVAC controls. Stereo, and then what gauges we do have in the truck. These can vary depending on your truck's specs. So we're looking at the dash here. I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial of how to navigate through. So you can always go down, and then you'll see on here, I'm going up and down, and it's scrolling me through the different options under this first home menu. And then if I go to the right, this is typically the screen I like to look at while I'm actually driving the vehicle. A few more gauge options are available in here as well. We've actually created a couple fault codes on this, so to access those, you'd be able to hit the OK button, see that your fuel's low, and then as well, if I click down one more time, it's saying that there's an after-treatment system problem detected. So if I hit the back button here, it'll get me back to that same screen we were looking at there with the alerts, and a little bit about diagnostic and engine maintenance. This is your audio saying what channel you're on if you're listening to the radio, or if you're listening to Bluetooth, it would show you that here as well. And then if you're connected to your phone, it would show that here. And then a few more settings, changing settings, alarm clock and whatnot are on this final screen there. One thing to note, this does mean that the optimized idle is running. It's pretty hot today, so we're actually using the optimized idle to keep the cab cool. And once again, just to access that, hit this button here once and then twice, and that accesses the optimized idle screen. So the mechanical gauges on here, this is your RPM gauge, your oil pressure gauge. Now this will typically just sit at 50 PSI always in the new gen Cascadias, whereas older models it might have fluctuated a little bit. This is your fuel gauge, so white is your diesel, blue is your DEF fluid. Here's your speedometer, and then your air pressure gauge, so primary is white, secondary is blue, and your water temperature gauge is the final bottom right gauge there. So this is the seat operation. Farthest button away from you is going to actually adjust the angle of the seat itself, so this whole thing would rock. Next one here, this is going to move the cushion back and forth on the base of this seat. This guy is going to lock you from this thing moving back and forth like this, so if it's locked, that won't move. This one here will move the entire base left and right. This one up and down, not really one switch, but it's kind of a setting. That'll be how much the seat will sway as you go over bumps. And then this is bringing the actual seat down itself. These are all your lumbar support options. This is hot, cold, and then low, medium, high button for that there. Here's your night switch. So if you are leaving this truck for an extended period of time, click that to off. And then one more thing here, this is your air supply. So if you want to blow out your cab, this is an optional thing, but it may be included in your truck and you can blow out your cab with that optional air supply there.
I hope you enjoyed the walk around video we've done for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact your local First Truck Center dealer. But there's one more important thing you got to keep in mind. Every one of these trucks comes with an owner's manual that has all the information and more detail than we provided today. Have a look at that, and if you still have questions, reach out to us and we'd be glad to help you. Thanks again.